to jump right into this because Michael, AUVSI recently rolled out this Green UAS program, and it raised a lot of questions in the industry. Like, what is this? It's like becoming part of the rainbow, right? We already had blue with Defense Innovation Unit. Now we've got green. And I think we have a really awesome slide that might maybe contrast the difference between green, blue, and your trusted cyber program. So can you walk us through this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we launched our broader Trusted Cyber program kind of at Exponential last year, or at least the concept of it, from the keynote stage where we had a panel on cybersecurity in the uncrewed systems industry. And that was sort of the first time AUVSI had really, with the broader community, begun to dug into cybersecurity. That led to our August launch of our Trusted Cyber program, which began as an industry working group. It's now at about 30, 35 companies, ranging from very, very large sort of corporate 500 mega companies to companies of just 2 or 3 people, and sort of the whole spectrum in between, focused on developing a framework of cybersecurity standards for uncrewed systems across all 3 domains. So we've been at that work for about 7-8 months now, and we'll be unveiling those frameworks going into Exponential in May, which we'll talk more about. While we were going through that process, we're obviously talking to a lot of stakeholders in both industry and government, and we were kind of already aware of sort of the challenge that existed, particularly in the small UAS community, where DIU was very successful in rapidly standing up the Blue UAS program in response to the congressional mandate from the National Defense Authorization Act of 2020 that prohibited DoD from acquiring drones with components or manufactured in China. And so DIU sort of handed this mandate of figure it out. How does DoD meet this mandate? And they did a great job then at standing up Blue and sort of creating this rapid vetting program. The challenge was they weren't funded to do it. So they were kind of finding funds as they went along to do both Blue 1.0 and later 2.0. And not a whole lot of companies were actually able to get into the Blue program just because of lack of resources within DIU, because they were sort of given this unfunded mandate. At the same time, the success of the Blue UAS program is sort of that becoming the only sort of cybersecurity program out there and supply chain review program out there. While intended for the DoD, a number of other entities outside the DoD began pointing to Blue as something that they wanted as part of their drone acquisition process. So you had other federal agencies, you had commercial entities, and you had state and local governments all sort of saying, well, we're only going to buy Blue too. And in fact, you actually had some states passing laws saying you can only use Blue UAS drones in our state if you're using state dollars. And that was never the intent of Blue, because Blue was always intended to be a sort of narrower DoD program.
Absolutely. And by the way, Michael, I want to just interject for 1 second. For those who want to learn more about DIU's Blue program, first of all, they have an incredible website, Defense Innovation Unit. Secondly, they were on the Dawn of Drones just in January with Chad Sweet from Modal AI. It was a great show. We've cut a couple clips from that one. So they go very, very deeply into what Blue is, how to become a part of Blue. And, Michael, look, the reality is Congress is so great at giving unfunded mandates, right? To not only the DoD, but other government entities that are near and dear to our heart, like the FAA as an example. So explain just pretty succinctly then how Green UAS responds to this kind of desire writ large, whether it's from other federal agencies, as you mentioned, or state entities looking for trusted and cyber secure, kind of made in North America, if you will, components and drones.
Yeah. So we worked very closely with DIU to take what they had built in Blue and bring it over into the commercial realm, and while still offering anybody who goes through Green the opportunity to become Blue. So in a lot of ways, Green very closely mirrors Blue, and for the DoD purposes, what they care about, it is an exact mirror. We actually added some additional components to Green, though, to actually make it more robust than the Blue UAS standard, simply because that standard is now a few years old, and technology and the threat environment continues to evolve. So any company that is looking to go through Green can apply on our website, on the AUVSI.org website, and go through the application process of whether they will meet the requirements to be able to go through a supply chain vetting, as well as a cyber penetration test. And it's a fairly robust test. I think a lot of companies will find it to be challenging to meet, but there will be opportunities to do remediation as they're going through the process if they're not able to meet the standards. And the goal is both to offer the end users of drones a more robust set of drones to choose from that have gone through this cyber compliance and supply chain risk management. But also, as sort of our name, the broader Trusted Cyber suggests, build trust in the systems and sort of across the entire framework of uncrewed systems. We're starting with Green UAS and small drones, but we'll be rolling out additional offerings for other types of uncrewed systems as well, larger drones, advanced air mobility, uncrewed vehicles and automated cars and trucks and such. So this is just sort of the beginning for us.
No, I love that you've done that. Two quick questions on it, just common sense. Number one, do you have to be an AUVSI member to apply?
You do not, and we do give a small discount to AUVSI members to incentivize that, but anybody can apply. And you had mentioned earlier sort of North America supply chain. That is not a requirement, but it does. So, and we've had already companies that are in the program from outside the United States, including Europe, Australia, and I believe Israel. So it's not necessarily the United States or North America. It is to be NDA compliant, though, looking at specifically components not from China.
Okay, and then like DIU and their Blue program, are you transparently posting on your website those companies that then ultimately qualify so people can go to that list in a public, a very public way to see, okay, what's out there?
Yeah, awesome question. So on our website now, we have the companies listed that are in the program, or at least some of them. A few of them, we need to get us their logo to be uploaded. But yes, we will be listing both the companies that are going through the process and then highlighting those that come out on the other end as green. Also, anybody that comes out on the other end as green will also be on the aforementioned DIU Blue UAS hub that you mentioned earlier. So in the eyes of DIU, a Green UAS platform has met the same standards as Blue. So when DoD customers are on the Blue UAS hub looking for drones, they'll see the Green UAS drones there as well. Those Green UAS drones won't have that sort of DIU authority to operate, that ATO piece. But if they have a DoD sponsor willing to help them go through the ATO process at DIU, they can go from that sort of green to blue. The only difference on the government side between green and blue will be that ATO piece.
So it gives them a little leg up. And I'm just curious because I was wondering about this. Green has that connotation of environmental, but it also is like in the military, like on a stoplight chart, green, you're a go. I assume it's the latter and why you chose the color green.
It is green is go. Yes, we had a lot of debate about that because green can also mean like sort of host nation forces or sort of allied forces. Green, blue, red. But we really did think of it as green equals go.
Okay, gotcha. All right, awesome. And one last question, then we're going to Keely, Michael, for you. So in kind of the landscape, the Green UAS program and your Trusted Cybersecurity program, there's a nexus there. Could you explain just very briefly that nexus then?
Yeah, absolutely. So Green is sort of the first offering of the Trusted Cyber program. So Trusted Cyber is sort of our larger, all-encompassing. There will be additional offerings that will come out of that program, but Green is sort of the first element of that. And we took a lot of lessons learned from building the broader cybersecurity frameworks within the Trusted Cyber program and applied them to Green to strengthen what had initially been done by DIU for Blue. So as I mentioned, for the DoD purposes, Green equals Blue, but Green actually goes a little bit further than Blue because of some of the lessons learned we drew from Trusted Cyber. Trusted Cyber is going to set an even higher bar, an even higher threshold for industry to meet, and that's really something that we're taking from industry demand. We're getting that from customers the end users of drones, that they want an even higher threshold of cybersecurity built into the drones. So Trusted Cyber is going to have both, or not just both, but product security, remote operations and connectivity security, supply chain review, as well as corporate hygiene cybersecurity. So it's going to be a very robust standard, and we're building that from input from our community.
Awesome. And it looks like we do have a question from the audience. So Keely, hold tight, I'm getting to you. But this one looks like it is still for Michael because it's on this topic. Shannon Knutson is saying, good morning. When will you open Green up to larger UAS, Michael?
Yeah, great question. I don't know that we will. Instead, I think what we'll probably do is offer something different than Green for large UAS. And the plan is to launch that before Exponential. So probably late April, early May, because Exponential's April 8th through 11th. So we're working on that now, and happy to discuss, Shannon, offline, what company you're with, and learn more about it. Would love your input. But we're working with companies like Boeing, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and others to focus on large UAS cybersecurity standards. And there's a number of other companies that are involved in that process as well.
All right. Well, big reveal then. You heard it here first on the Dawn of Drones, the larger UAS component of this, a trusted cybersecurity green-like program coming to you soon.